We were at this topic, that is the object class. So we will tell you about that. So when we learn the programming languages, especially languages like Java, what happens? We have to remember the class names, object names, and method names. Okay, so then we can write the programs easily because almost all it is inbuilt only. Okay, like we can say ready-made food. Okay, see, in Java language, we have one class by name the object. The name of the class itself is object. Okay. When we consider with respect to real world, object means it is a real world entity. And in programming language, after creating a class, we will get the object. But in Java, we have many classes like a string class, a string buffer class, inbuilt classes. You can say in Java class library. Okay, string class is the string buffer and many more of them. Similar to that, we have object class. Class name itself object. Okay. See, there is one special class object defined by Java. All other classes are subclasses of object. I hope you people remember the inheritance concept. Subclasses means for every subclass, superclass will be there. Then only we can say inheritance concept. So here, what you have to consider is object as the superclass. Okay, class name is object, that is the superclass, and all other classes are the subclasses of this object class. That is, object is a superclass of all other classes. This means that a reference variable of type object can refer to any to an object of any other class. Also, since arrays are implemented as classes, a variable of type object can also refer to any array. So we can create an object reference of type object and it can refer to object of any class. Okay, see, we have discussed in the previous programs like abstract areas, find areas. In those programs, we have discussed about object reference referring to some other class. So that is possible. Okay. Now, object defines the following methods. So these are the some of the methods. See, where and all we come across application, so we can use these particular methods. Okay. Object, see, class name is object here. Okay, that is data type. Data type of the method is object. Return type of the method is object. Method name is clone. Clone is the method. Creates a new object that is same as the object being cloned. The meaning of cloning means copying. Okay, exact copy, if we get it, that is called as cloning. So create a new object that is the same as the object being cloned. Next method, boolean equals. Okay, return type is boolean, method name is equals. Inside that one parameter is there. That parameter data type is object. That is nothing but a class. Okay. See, boolean equals object object. See, first word object indicates the class name. So O you have to write in capital letter. Second word object indicates the object of the class object. Okay. This even you can write it like obj. If you are getting confusion, you can write it as obj. There is an identifier. You can write on your own. So determines whether one object is equal to another. Okay. Next, void finalize, called before an unused object is recycled. See, yeah, these things we should know where it is used. That's all. See, when we start doing the projects, like in projects, we may come across some requirement. Okay, in that case, we have to remember these methods and we have to use in the project. Okay, class, get a class. So obtains the class of an object at runtime. Int hash code, notify all, toString. Okay, so in this way, we have to just remember these methods, and in applications, we have to use them. Okay. Void wait, long millisecond, int nanoseconds. These three methods are used in multi-threaded programming concept. So there is a chapter called as multi-threaded programming. There we use these functions, and you see string to string. Okay, string to string returns a string that describes the object. Okay, so notify all returns the returns execution of all threads waiting for an invoking on an invoking object. Okay, so in this way. So we should see where these methods are used, where it is applied like that. Okay. Next. Okay. The methods get class, notify all, wait are declared as final. See, we have discussed about the final keyword, right? So when a method is declared as final, what happens? When a class is declared as final, what happens? In the previous topics we have discussed. See, for example, if you look at this line, if you look at this program, so we have declared method as a final. Okay, if you declare method as a final, then that cannot be inherited. So that is the concept, using final to avoid to prevent overriding. That means in the subclass you cannot use that method. So method overriding means what? Whatever the method defined in the superclass, same method. That means method by the same name we can write it and we can change the code. That is called as method overriding. When you declare the method as final, then that method cannot be changed in the subclass. That means once again you cannot write that method saying that it is overridden. So method overriding is not applied when we use method as a final. Okay. So in these classes, and methods, the methods get class, notify all, and wait are declared as final. That means method overriding cannot be done on these functions, on this method. See, the thing is, if you look at the previous programs, like, just a minute, if you look at this program, here what we have done, you just observe, we have taken one method called area, right? Okay, in abstract class. Whether it is an abstract method or concrete method, just what you have to remember the concept is method overriding concept. Method overriding means, see, in subclass rectangle I have written the method double area. In a triangle class I have written the method, correct, double area. That means two methods with the same signature. Signature means first line of the method. If you consider double area without a parameters, this is called as signature, first line of the function. And in the triangle class, if you consider double area without a parameters, that is called as a signature. If the signature is the same and if the code inside the method is different in different classes, that is called as method overriding. Okay, if the signature of the method is same and code inside the method is different. See, in case of rectangle class, what I have done, inside area of a rectangle return dimension 1 into dimension 2. In triangle class, what I have done, for the same method name, inside area for a triangle return dimension 1 into dimension 2 by 2. That means code is changed here. So when there is a change in the code, then we can say method overriding. Okay, and here what they're telling, okay, these methods are declared final. Okay, you may override the others. However, notice two methods now, equals and toString. The equals method compares the contents of two objects. So it returns true if the objects are equivalent and false otherwise. See, generally when we do method overriding, what we think is like, if we have written the method, then we think that we can override. If we have written the method means what? You see in this example only, this double area, this method is not present in Java class library. So understand this concept. Area method is not present in Java class library. It is not inbuilt method. It is present in the class called rectangle. And class rectangle is not inbuilt class. That is, it is not present in Java class library. We have written the class, right? We have written the class called rectangle. And in rectangle class, I have written the method called area. And again, triangle class we have written. And inside that area method we have defined. That means area method is not present in the Java class library, but we have written the area method. So when we write our own method in class, that method we can override. That means method overriding can be done. Not only for that, what they are telling, even though for inbuilt methods, understand this concept. Inbuilt methods means which methods are already present in Java class library. Why I'm telling this is because this area method is not present in Java class library. So we have written the method. So we have done method overriding concept. But what about methods already present in Java class library? Can we override that? Yes, we can do that. Even though we have not written the code of the method, just we will come to know signature of the method. By that only we can override that method. For example, in this table, these are all inbuilt methods only. Okay, these are all inbuilt methods. So you can take these methods and override. Once again, you can write the code for that. Okay. In that case, what happens? They are giving some restriction here. These methods you cannot override. Get class, notify all. Wait. Even though these methods are inbuilt methods, you cannot override. Why? Because it is declared as final. Okay. So when you declare the method as final, you cannot override. And coming to the methods, say equals toString. toString method can be overridden. It is already present in Java class library. Method is already done. Programmers, one who have developed Java language has written the code for that. Once again, we can change the code for that. In this sense, in our program, we can change. That will not affect the code present in the Java class library. And when we start executing that code, whatever the code we have written, that will execute. So in strings chapter now I will show how it happens. Okay. What you have to remember means, before I go to the toString method overriding in strings chapter, you just remember there is a method called toString which is present in string class. Okay, and the functionality of that method is returns a string that describes an object. Returns a string that describes an object. Just you remember this point. Okay, string is a class, method is toString, functionality is returns a string that describes the object. Okay, by taking this method, we will change the code. So I will show you in program. Okay. Okay, the equals method compares contents of two objects. It returns true if the objects are equivalent or false otherwise. The precise definition of equality can vary depending on the type of the objects being compared. The toString method returns a string that contains a description of the object on which it is called. Also, this method is automatically called when the object is output using println. Many classes override this method. See, remember this last point. Many classes override this method. Okay. See what they're telling. Even though toString method belongs to string class, which is already present in Java class library, and code is also written for that, and functionality is also there. Just if you make use of that method, you will get the string equivalent. But still, we can change the code, and when we call that method, whatever the code we have written, that will execute. So in strings chapter, now I will show you. Okay. And one more point here is the toString method returns a string that contains a description of the object on which it is called. Also, this method is automatically called when an object is output using println method. So in system.out.println we display the strings, right? In that case, toString method is called. Okay, in system.out.print or system.out.println, toString method is called. Okay. So now before I go to package chapter, let us finish that concept, because one topic I left in strings chapter which is related to toString method. Okay. Okay. So consider the okay, before we go to the program, you just look at this. For objects, toString method is called. The general form of toString method is string to string. So what we have to understand here is the method name is toString, which is already present in Java class library and which belongs to the class called string. Okay, and the return value of this toString method is string. So when you look at the syntax, the things what you come to know is what value the method will return and what is the method name and what type of parameters or how many parameters we have to supply for that method. These three things will come to know. That is return type of the method, that is what value it will return, whether integer, float, character, string, array, class, like that. And method name you will come to know, and inside that how many parameters or what are the data types of parameters you have to use. Okay, so in this method, return value will be string. So you will here only it is there string. String means return value is string. toString is the method name and nothing to supply for this method because no parameters, parameterless method we can say. Okay, then how it is applied in this program, we will say override toString for the box class. So one important point what you have to remember is like toString method, it is already defined in class string. See here I have written public string. You should not consider like this. See, okay, I have written toString method, nothing like that. If I don't write this method also, toString method starts working. First point you have to understand this. If I don't write the method toString with the code, toString starts working. When means whenever these statements are executed. That is system.out.println. Whenever print statement or println statements are executed, toString method starts working. But what we are doing here, can we override? Override in the sense, can we write our own code for the toString? Just a minute. Yes, can we override? That means can we change the code which is present inside the Java class library? The answer is yes, we can change the code. We can change the code means we can write our own code. Whatever the code present in Java class library, it will be same. But what new code we are writing in our program, that starts executing whenever toString method is called. We will see how it happens. So in the class box, double width, double height, depth, these are three instance variables. We have the constructor called box. So in which we have parameterized constructor WHD. So we are copying the values W to width, H to height, D to depth. Okay. Next, I have written the method called as toString. Okay. See, you just observe how we have written this. Return dimensions are up to here it is string, then plus width. It will take the value of width and it will convert to string. By is a string. It will take the value of depth, convert to string. By is a string. Take the value of height and convert to string. And last one is full stop. Okay. Now coming to the main method, box b is equals to new box of 10 comma 12 comma 14. See, I think by this time you people came to know like how these lines are executed. Okay, whenever we look at this line, it will call the constructor. That is class name object name equal to new class name of values or without values. So it will call the constructor. Now this line will call the constructor. So do we have constructor in the box class? Yes, we have. Constructor is the box with the parameters w, h and d. So 10 will be copied to w, 12 will be copied to h, 14 will be copied to d. Okay. In turn, w will be copied to width, h will be copied to height, d will be copied to depth. Okay. So this we came to know. Next we have the string s is equals to box b. See, you just observe box small letter b with colon one space. This is a string. Understood? Box b colon space. This is string. And afterwards, what we have done? Plus a symbol. After plus symbol, I have written the b. This b indicates object. Remember, it is an object because you look at this line. Box b is equal to new box of 10, 12, 14. So here small letter b is an object. So I have concatenated object here. See, concatenate box object here. Plus will call toString. Just a minute. So you observe the diagram. After execution of the first line, box b is equals to new box. Object b is created with the values 10, 12, and 14 to width, height, and depth. Okay, you just look at this diagram. Box b is equal to new box of 10, 12, 14. You look at the arrow marks. 10 will be copied to w, 12 to h, 14 to d. In turn, w, h, and d are copied to width, height, and depth respectively. So we can consider the object b memory representation with width, height, and depth values 10, 12, and 14. Okay. Next line is what? String s is equals to box b plus b. This we have to understand. Okay. In the string, what we have written? Box space b colon space. That how we have to understand is it's just a string. You should not consider this box word as class name, b as an object. Like that, you should not consider. This is just a string. It is okay. So it will print as it is. Box b colon. It will print as it is. But after double quotes is closed, when you write plus and b, this point is very important. This we have to understand. What happens here is we are concatenating object to string. So try to understand here. We will concatenate object to string. Okay. And whenever this plus symbol is executed, you look at this diagram. Whenever plus symbol is executed, this plus will invoke the method toString. Plus will invoke the method toString. Here, toString method is not called by writing. You just observe like this, because whenever the method is invoked or called, we have written like this, right? B dot toString like this, right? So till here we saw this concept, writing the object name dot string method name, right? Object dot method name. But even though if I don't write like this, okay, still toString method is called. toString method starts working. How means? Because of this plus symbol. The meaning of plus is what? Concatenate, combine. If it wants to combine, first it has to convert to string. Otherwise it will not combine. So to convert to string, some functionality is required. Some working process is required. That working process is done in toString method. That working process is done in toString method. So it is present here. So if this code starts working means first it should be called. The toString method should be invoked. The program controller should come to this toString method. So how it will come is like because of this plus symbol. So only I have drawn arrow mark from plus symbol to toString. Okay, we have not called a toString directly, that b dot toString. Because of plus symbol, the toString method is called. When toString method is called, inside the toString method, you see what is present. Okay, return dimensions are width by height by width by depth by height. Okay, width by depth by height. So what happens here is dimensions are 10 by 14 by 12. Wherever width, height, depth is it, the values are substituted. 10 by 14 by 12. So these values are substituted 10 by 14 by 12. And when these values are substituted, those values are again converted to string. Because whenever there is a string and another type of value before plus and after plus, then both should be converted to string only. Okay, so the values of width, depth, and height are converted to string, and complete string it will become. What is the complete string? Dimensions are 10.0 by 14.0 by 12.0. This is the complete string. So in place of width, depth, and height, what we have to understand is like values are substituted and converted to string. So now, just for your understanding purpose, here I will write it. You just try to understand. So in place of dimensions are width by depth by height, what happens? It will take these values. The dimensions are, that is 10, 14, 12, right? So 10.0 by 14.0 by 12.0. Okay, like this it happens. So this entire statement, it happens like this. And okay, full stop. Now what we can consider is, it is nothing but a return this one. What is that? This you have to return to the main method. Why we have to return to main method? Because program control has come from main method only. From plus symbol only it has come, right? So from plus symbol it has program control has come to the toString method. After plus symbol you have to substitute all these things after plus symbol. Okay, because wherever the program control stopped in main method, to that line only how to go. You have to return program control to that line. So program control will come to the plus symbol, that is after the plus symbol. So after the plus symbol, what is present? B is present. In place of B, you have to write this much. This much you have to write in place of B. Like this. It becomes like this. Okay. That is box B, dimensions are 10 by 14 by 12. And final value is this plus symbol will go, and you can expect here like this is the complete string. So this will be the complete string. I hope you people are getting. Okay, because after plus we have used the object, and plus symbol will invoke this method, that is toString method. In toString method we have the sentences, dimensions are width by depth by height, values are substituted. After substituting the values, it becomes one complete string. That complete string will return back to the main method where we have stopped. That is in place of when plus symbol is executed, there we have stopped main method. So it will return back to that particular line. And after plus symbol, we have the object. In place of object, you have to substitute this much. And that will be combined to box B. And this is the complete string. Understood? Now, we can consider like S string as box B, dimensions are 10 by 14 by 12. B string as B value as so width, height, and depth is there. Just a minute. See here, one more concept is there. That is what I have done here. In first println statement, system.out.println, I have written just B. First, you should know what is B here. B is an object. Okay, fine. If B is an object, in println I have written directly B. What value it should substitute? Right? What value it should substitute? We get a question. Because if it is string, it would have substituted the string value. If it is a value, like if I say B is equals to 10, okay, B is equals to 10. So I can understand that here in place of B, it will substitute 10 and it will convert to string and it will display. But here, that is not the case. It is an object. And for object, what we have done? Constructor is called, values are given 10, 12, and 15. Now, how it will display here? That it matters. So how it will display is, whenever println statement is executed, understand, whenever println or print statement is executed, inside that if you are writing an object, toString method is called. toString method is called. Understood? Inside println or print statement, if you are writing an object, toString method is called, which is present in Java class library. Okay. And if that method is overridden, we have written the method, and if we have changed the code, whatever the code we have written for the toString method, that method will be called. If